You are now listening to The Box Out with Kahlil Thomas and Jason Corden on the One Podcast Network. Let's get it.
New intro, new season. Let's get it. Let's get it. Kahlil Thomas, the One Box Out Network. This is the One Podcast Network, the Box Out. Let's switch that up. I don't know what happened there. I'm Kahlil Thomas. Joining me in just a few minutes will be Jason Corden from Brooklyn, New York. Thanks so much for watching. Lot to get to. After a amazing premiere last night of Armchairing with Bruce, we're back, so it'll be back-to-back nights on this YouTube channel. It'll be Bruce on Wednesdays, Jason and I on Thursdays, and whatever else happens on this channel. The idea is do some shows, sports, politics, pro wrestling, comedy, whatever we come up with, that's what you're going to see here on the One Podcast Network. So thanks so much for watching. We're going to start WNBA final regular season night is tonight. It is happening as you speak. Going into tonight, here's what the scenarios were. Going into tonight, the final regular season game, all 12 teams are in action tonight. There's 3 teams vying for the final playoff spot in the WNBA. Atlanta's in pole position. They clinch a spot with a win tonight or a loss by the Chicago Sky. Washington clinches the playoff spot with a win and a Atlanta loss and a Chicago win. Chicago clinches the playoff spot with the win and losses by both Atlanta and Washington. And then you look at the other seeding possibilities. Connecticut clinches the 3rd seed with a win or a Vegas loss. Vegas clinches the 3rd seed with the win and a Connecticut loss. So not only do we have that final playoff spot in WNBA up for grabs, we have some seeding to figure out tonight as well, the 3rd seed. And last night on Bruce's show on Armchairing, which you can watch Wednesdays 8 p.m. here on the One Podcast Network, he gave us kind of hierarchy of who has the best chance of winning the WNBA title. And right now in the pole position is the New York Liberty. They have the number 1 seed. They have home court throughout the entire playoffs. And it becomes you almost got to look at them and go, okay, you were one of the clubs that started the WNBA. That's still around. Right? Obviously, you had the Liberty, you had the Houston Comets, you had the Cleveland Rockers and Sacramento Monarchs and all those other teams like that. But Liberty's still here, right? So few teams are still in this league that started out with this league. Obviously, you have the Aces that were the Silver Stars, that were the Tulsa Shock, that were the Detroit Shock. You have an opportunity as a founding charter member of this league to finally win the title. And I think the pressure is on. John, Dad, what's up? Bruce, what's going on? Great show last night. The pressure's on the Liberty. They have to win the title this year. You know, Stewie's going to be back next year. Obviously, Sabrina's going to be back. I think Bonaventure Bonnies going to be back next year. Jonquel Jones may or may not be back. We'll see about her free agency status. Courtney Vandersloot, I would assume she's going to retire at the end of the year. This might be their final run as constructed right now. Being 25 plus years in this league, not with a title, and you can blame the Houston Comets for that because they dominated them early in those early years when you had, Teresa Witherspoon, and you had Rebecca Lobo and those guys. They have to win a title. I'm not sure if the Liberty feels the pressure that I'm kind of putting on them right now. I feel like I'm putting a lot of pressure on the New York Liberty to win a title, but they have to now. This is the time to do it. You have probably the best team. Obviously, the interior defense is a little lacking. So a team like the Vegas Aces, a team like the Connecticut Sun, that's going to be a problem for the Liberty because they don't have that interior presence except for Jonquel Jones, who has a tendency to disappear in big games quite often, actually. It's common. It's pretty common. Jonquel Jones can disappear in a big game. So that puts pressure on Stewie. That puts pressure on Sabrina Eskew. That puts pressure on Lainey Hamilton. That puts pressure on Courtney Vandersloot to hit a couple threes and make a couple baskets. This is their time. Best record in WNBA right now, 30 wins in the season. you have the momentum. To me, I think the only team, because I think they kind of figured out the Aces this year, although they lost them in the finals last year. I think Connecticut, they kind of figured them out, and it kind of depends on how the Liberty shoots from game to game. If the Liberty is shooting well, they will win a game. If they're shooting terribly against a team like Connecticut, Connecticut's going to throw it down low and let Alyssa Thomas and DeWanna Bonner kill them down low. I think the Minnesota Lynx might be the only team that can really give the Liberty that work. That work. We saw it in the Commissioner's Cup Championship. We saw it a couple weeks ago when they played against each other at Barclays in Brooklyn. The Lynx might be the one team that really is going to give them that work. I think that's the team you got to look out for if you're the New York Liberty, the deeper you go into the playoffs. So, as we said and we started, all 12 teams are in action. Let's do a quick update, shall we? Third quarter, 9:26 remaining. You have the Sun up on the Sky by 11. The Sky's going through a lot of injuries, including the injury to Angel Reese a couple weeks ago. They have 3 other players who are out. So that's going to be a huge thing for them going forward. And, at this point, their playoff lives are kind of hanging in the balance in Connecticut against the Sun. The Dream up 53-35 on the Liberty. That's at Barclays. That's in the third quarter as well. The Liberty not really playing their starters, taking the night off. Do they need to play Sabrina Ionescu 30 minutes? No. Do they need to play Stewie 30 minutes? No. Give him a couple minutes, give him some burn, keep it pushing. So that's why the Dream is blowing out the Liberty right now, to be completely honest. The Mystics 64-49 over the Fever. Fever also in the playoffs. They're set. You're not seeing a lot of Caitlin Clark tonight, so it's the Mystics. If Atlanta beats the Liberty, Mystics eliminated, Sky eliminated. So Atlanta's doing their job. The Mystics doing their job after starting 0-12 to be in this position to even be competing for a playoff spot on the last night of the season is a pretty cool accomplishment for Washington after such a shitty start they had. First quarter just started. We have a 5-4 Lynx over Sparks score that's happening in Target Center. And then at the 10 o'clock, we have 2 games. The Wings visiting Vegas. Vegas is pretty much sitting everybody tonight. So expect the Dallas Wings win in Vegas. And also at 10 o'clock, Seattle goes to Phoenix to play the Mercury. Mercury's in the playoffs, but this could be the last regular season game for Diana Taurasi, who earlier this week said the end is near. And she kind of knows it. She, at some point you have to cut. You kind of know when to fold them, when to hold them, whatever that damn Kenny Rogers song is. I think Taurasi's getting to that point where she kind of knows, okay, the time is coming for her to hang them up. As I welcome in Jason Corner from Brooklyn, New York. Jay, what's going on, man?
Nothing much, man. I just want to let you know that last topic. Oh man, I got a lot to say about that one.
Oh, go, start.
There's no way would I retire Vince Carter's jersey as a New Jersey net or a Brooklyn net. This is no way.
We're gonna get to that later, but I honestly, I feel the same way. I feel the exact same way you do about that whole. I read it and I was like, really? But we'll get to that later. Talking WNBA last night of the regular season, I started the show saying that I think the pressure's on the Liberty to win the title this year since they are one of the founding teams of the league. Mm-hmm. And 27, 28 years into the league, they have nothing to show for their charter membership. Do you think the pressure's on them, or do you think they're just like, we know that we don't have one, but we don't feel that pressure?
That's a great question because I think the pressure's on themselves to win it this year. I think Vegas is definitely want to get that three-peat. They want to solidify their title, their dynasty. They want to back in as a three-peat because we haven't seen that in quite. I don't know if we ever seen that. Not since the Comets. Why was sure not since the original Comets run, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's something I'm pretty sure they put a lot of pressure on themselves about. The Lynx recently won a title not too long ago, so this is just a great year for them. But I think the Liberty has a lot of pressure on themselves because this is their best opportunity. We look back at the Rebecca Lobo years. Yeah, they were good, but they weren't better than the Comics. We all know that. This is probably the one year where I think they probably are a little bit better than the Aces. So if they match up in the finals, that'd be a great thing. But other than that, I think there's a lot of pressure on them. And damn it, do not win a championship before Portland comes back in the whole WNBA sphere.
I'm just looked it up. The Comets, they won the title 97, 98, 99, and 2000. So they won the first four. So, to have the Aces win 3 in a row would be kind of cool.
Because it hasn't happened in a long time, yeah.
Exactly. We don't see that. Bruce show last night. Bruce did put the Liberty in his hierarchy of winning. They were kind of low on that hierarchy. They were kind of low. But he was on it. They were on his hierarchy, so I will give him credit there. I was saying also, I think the only team, and I think obviously the Liberty lost to the Aces last year. Connecticut definitely gives the Liberty trouble anytime they play each other. I think Alyssa Thomas and Bonner might be the biggest pains in the ass for that team. I really think Minnesota's that one team that New York does not want to see in the playoffs, because for some reason Minnesota know exactly how to play the Liberty, and you saw it live when you were there a couple weeks ago. Minnesota just kind of figured it out and know exactly how to play Stewie, know how to play Ionescu, and just knows how to just play defense in that whole team.
Yeah, I didn't want to put too much into the last game, but it did look like they figured him out, and we saw from the Commissioner Cup and just 3 games into the season, I think they pretty much dominated them. So we'll see. But at the same point, they all are not going to match up against the Liberty. Somebody's got to match up against each other. We'll see how everything breaks when we get to the playoffs.
So right now the Liberty is number 1 seed. Minnesota's 2. Connecticut or Vegas will be 3. Depends on how tonight goes. Especially those late games at 10 o'clock. Seattle's 5. Indiana 6. Phoenix 7. Atlanta's a win and they're in. Right now they're doing their business against the Liberty, who's resting everybody. So we can pretty much assume that Atlanta's going to get the final spot unless something crazy happens. Washington's winning their game. So if Atlanta stumbles tonight, Washington keeps it up, they get the spot. So right now it's all in Atlanta. If Atlanta wins, they get that 8th spot, and then we have our 8 teams in the playoffs. Is there one of the 8, Liberty, Lynx, Sun, Aces, Seattle, Indiana, Phoenix, Atlanta, that if you were a coach, you would not want to see in any round of the playoffs?
Believe it or not, I'm going to say Connecticut. I just feel like that's the team that I would not want to see at any point. I feel like Indiana, if it's a knockout game, you don't want to see them. But if it's a dragged out series, I don't want to see Connecticut.
Yeah, I think Indiana's that weird team that you give a best of 3 against Indiana, and I'm like, you see Caitlin Clark, you're like, she could drop 50. Aaliyah Boston will drop 20 and 15, and I'm like, right there, I'm good. And they got other pieces in that team that's really, so I'm like, I don't.
They remind me of, I think it was the Mystic team that year where the Liberty were favored, and they just dog walked the Liberty in those early first 2 games. It was like, what just happened? That's Indiana this year. I don't want no parts of them in an early round. I don't want no parts of them.
The other team is Seattle, because I think Jewel Lloyd, ever since this is a big update from Bruce. Kelsey Mitchell from Indiana, who was that 3rd member of their 3-headed monster for Indiana. She got hurt tonight, so that might play a role in Indiana's first round matchup. I feel like ever since Sue Bird left Seattle, ever since Breanna Stewart left Seattle, I feel like Seattle, it's almost like they've been left for dead a little bit. And I know they made a couple of moves. They brought in Skylar Diggins-Smith, they made other moves, but Jewel Lloyd has been there, and she's kind of picked up the mantle from Sue Bird. And I feel like Jewel Lloyd is going to come to these playoffs like, I got to prove something to the league and show that, this was Sue's team. This is, she's the franchise player, but I'm here now. This is my team. I feel like that could be a thing, because Jewel Lloyd can drop 30 points without even thinking about it.
Oh, not even thinking about it. 100%.
I feel like that's a scary team to face, because Jewel wants a spotlight. She wants people to know that this is Seattle. This is my team. So Seattle could be one of those scary teams, especially in those early rounds on best of 3 knockout game.
Yep. But I can't wait for the playoffs to start. Can't wait.
Yep, they start this weekend. Jewel Lloyd has ran the salute defense. Listen, if she can score 40, I'm good with that. Just put it on someone else. I can care less. You mentioned it earlier as well. Portland gets a team. Portland got the WNBA team. I know it was put on hold before. It was announced yesterday. They get their team finally. They're playing in the Moda Center for now, but then it's going under renovations because they're hosting the 2030 Women's Final Four. So they're playing in the Coliseum next door.
Oh, okay.
So a lot is happening in Portland. But we're going to have a league with 16 teams. No, wait. I want to get the number right first. Sorry, 15 teams. You have Golden State starting next year. And you have Toronto and Portland starting the year after. How big was getting Portland to make this a 15-team league? Kind of the start now. I know they're not done, but Portland's a big move.
It's a big move. Definitely get them in that region over there in Oregon. They're going to influx. They love basketball out there. It's a smart move. In my heart, I still feel like Houston deserves the Comet resurrection, but that's not going to happen anytime soon. But I do like what they're doing, especially heavy with the women's basketball on the Pacific, the whole coastal line. It's like they're flooded, Shout out to Sacramento Monarchs. They should eventually bring them back too. But I like the move, expand the league, keeping a little bit more out west and towards the east because I think the east is pretty much covered already.
Yeah, I think you have Portland, and Portland's big with women's sports. You have the Portland Thorns or the NWSL. You mentioned Pacific Northwest, Oregon State basketball is really, really big out there. I think that was the perfect place to put it. And I think Portland
100%.
has such a strong fan base in general with the Blazers, with the Thorns, with the Timbers, the MLS. So you can put a team in Portland, you're going to get automatic support from fans out there. So that's a really strong move. Golden State, I'm kind of sketchy on that. I think Toronto's going to do well. I think Portland's going to do well. I think Golden State, San Francisco, is California. It's fickle. California got some fickle-ass fans. So are you going to get sellouts every single night for years and years and years? Portland's going to do it. Toronto's definitely going to do it. Can Golden State do it? And I think that's going to be the key, too. They want to see how Golden State works because I feel like the next team, it has to be the perfect market. I agree with you. I think Sacramento should be the next in line. I think Houston with the right ownership. I don't think Fertitta should own Houston. I think
agree.
It should be someone else owning it. And whether they play at the Toyota Center where the Rockets play or they play at the University of Houston, I think ownership's going to play a role with Houston because that's what screwed them up the last time. I think their ownership sucked. And that was really when the league kind of finally started giving the franchises out individually, and they just bombed it completely. So the next market's going to be interesting. I have a question for you, though.
Okay.
How would you feel about a New Jersey franchise to play at Prudential?
I wouldn't. I'm torn. Well,
rivalry. You have a rivalry in New York, so you got the New York versus New Jersey. You'll get that back. I think it could work. What are your thoughts?
I think it could work. And the only reason I think it could work, we're old enough to remember the Hartford Whalers, and it was you just had 4 teams in the area just battling out. I definitely think, I definitely think we could New Jersey definitely his own sports entity, just an entity. It could be an expansion team.
Anything, just anything.
It could be an expansion team. It could be, the 76ers moving to Cadman. It could be anything. But I think the region of New Jersey, the great state, the Garden State needs a team. I agree 100%. I just don't know how that would work in terms of the Liberty, the Suns, and a New Jersey franchise.
I mean,
what will change? What will change all of this is the Devils start winning again. But that's a whole nother conversation.
Fuck the Devils. Moving on. It could work. You're right. You have that. It's a lot of teams in one spot. Right? You said Hartford Whalers. We had the Hartford Whalers. We had the Rangers. We had the Devils. The Boston Bruins. Right. There was a lot happening in this I-95 corridor in hockey back in the day. Why can't we have that in WNBA? Let's bring that back. We got that natural rivalry, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. Let's do it. Put some money down. Have the governors push some shit down. Connecticut met seafood. New Jersey bets fruit because of the Garden State, right? And then New York bets pizza, bagels, whatever the fuck they make in New York. I don't know what they do in New York.
And don't forget with the Sun. To me, and the Suns are more proximity closer to being a Boston, Massachusetts, piggyback franchise. Their fandoms could really navigate towards them. Whereas the Liberty, you got the city, but then Jersey, it would be all behind a franchise in Jersey. So I think it definitely could work.
All right, so my dad likes it. We need our own identity. We don't have identity.
See, exactly.
But of college basketball, but no.
But speaking of college basketball, I see that somebody made a short list and Rutgers is on it.
NIL money. Rutgers is getting NIL money at the ass right now, so that's why people are coming to Rutgers. It's not because they like playing goddamn Piscataway, New Jersey. It's because they're making money while they come in here.
Hey, if you could get Carmelo's son to come to Rutgers over Syracuse, that's a win. That's a win in my book.
Okay, listen, I have a son. Okay, if he comes to me and goes, "Dad, I got a scholarship offer." Okay, where'd you get one from? I got one from Syracuse, not to play ball. Right? Obviously, Syracuse is good at lacrosse and other things. I got a scholarship offer to play basketball at Syracuse and at Rutgers. Syracuse played in that dome, right? Fill that dome out his freshman year, or the banks of the Raritan in Piscataway, New Jersey, with no parking, and it smells down there. I'm from Jersey. I'm telling you, it smells in Piscataway. It smells in New Brunswick. Let's go to Syracuse. I'll drive up there in the snow and watch you play ball. I'm sorry. That's just me. I'm just putting it. And I'm a Jersey guy. I love Jersey, but my son's going to Syracuse and playing that.
Remember, Coach Boeheim is not coaching your son.
Good. If he was there, he wouldn't be coaching my son. I wouldn't send my son there with that nut. No way. Man sucks. Quick update of the games going on right now in WNBA. 2:29 remaining in the third quarter. You have the Sun up by 25 on the Sky. So they're eliminated. They're done. Atlanta up 66-49 on the Liberty. That's at the end of the third quarter. So Atlanta's in the driver's seat. They're going to make the playoffs. Washington doing their part, up 16 on the Fever at the end of the third quarter as well. Probably won't be enough to make the playoffs. And then you have the Sparks up by 6 at the beginning of second quarter over the Lynx, who are resting everybody later tonight. Dallas goes to Vegas, and Seattle goes to Phoenix for what could be Taurasi's last regular season home game in Phoenix. The other big news this week, and we got to talk about it because this man has been this man's a legend. I'm just put it out there. This man is a legend. Adrian Wojnarowski, he's the man. Like you get a tweet, you get a Woj bomb. That was like our highlight of every day. Like we just text each other Woj bombs, right? He announced really randomly out of nowhere that he was retiring from ESPN and the grind of being an insider. I want to read a little bit of a statement on Twitter. I grew up the son of a factory worker 2 miles from ESPN's campus and only dreamed of making a living as a sports writer. 37 years ago, the Hartford Courant gave my first byline. I never stopped chasing the thrill of it all. Skipping down, the past 7 years at ESPN has been a particular privilege. I'm appreciative of the company's leadership for their understanding and acceptance of my decision to make a life change. He wants to spend more time with his family, but he's also going to be the general manager of St. Bonaventure basketball, which, you hear general manager of a team. What does that entail? And I did some research. Essentially, he's running NILs. He's running the NIL program and pretty much everything that has to do with St. Bonaventure basketball. How surprising was this move, and what's Woj's legacy in all this?
I'm told I was on a scale of 1 to 100. I was 105 shocked that he resigned, that he took him while he retired. I understand why he retired, and I'm more so surprised he did it, considering that the money and everything that's coming into the league in the next couple of years, and he was the number one insider. Like, especially from us, we come up from an era where we had the Petey Vesey's and those guys that used to break stories, and Woj was doing it on a whole nother level, and he had everything on lock. So like when a Woj bomb came in, which I hope he trademarked, then it was a big deal, and it would come in no matter what time of the day, morning, noon, or night, and we was all glued. Like he's one of those guys that you like. When I see stuff on, especially nowadays, when you see stuff on social media, you don't know what to believe. If Woj or a certain other person did not tweet it, I don't believe it. So it's going to be interesting seeing how that void is filled and who's going to step up to the plate. But I'm happy that he's retiring, and makes me also wonder, if St. Bonaventure's about to be the new St. John's out here, like their NIL is probably going to go through the roof because Woj got that hookup.
Yeah, I mean, his Rolodex has got to be like everybody. I told my buddy this morning, I'm like, you look at someone like a Woj, yes, he was getting news and he was getting insider information, but a lot of those guys were calling him.
They were calling him, right?
Calling him, Woj, off the record, I can't stand this guy. I can't stand this coach. Can't stand this player. Woj is like playing probably like therapists to half these GMs around here. Like, it's all good. Don't worry about it. So, like you said, morning, noon, night, that phone was on. And he mentioned, he's like, I don't want to bring my phone to the urinal anymore. Because you think about it, that phone, I think, and Adam Schefter's a lot like that. That phone's on and it's constantly going off.
I kid you not, the one time I probably saw Woj in real life, his head was down in his phone. Like, he wasn't even looking up. This is the middle of Times Square. His head was down in the phone, was not looking up. He's always about business. So, it like I said, it's going to be interesting what happens down the line.
Well, it's kind of like, I think I hung out with Joe Lunardi at the ACC tournament in Brooklyn one year. And Joe Lunardi, for those who don't know, is the ESPN bracketologist for college basketball. And he's pretty accurate. He's like 95, 96% every year. But everyone who walks up to him like, hey, what do you think about Monmouth? And I asked him about Monmouth because I feel like a jackass. But you just know someone like that is going to get hounded about, what's your bracket look like right now? How do you feel about St. John's being like the last team? I can imagine, and that's just people walking up to Joe Lunardi. I can imagine Woj's phone just like all night, just trying to sleep. You got a newborn, in your room, phone go off. So his life is probably just all about what he was doing. So it's good on him.
When KD got traded from the Nets to Phoenix, that was in the middle of the night. That wasn't 11 o'clock. That was like a 2 a.m. trade.
That was 2 a.m. That was like 2 a.m. And that was Woj. His phone went off. He's like, okay, and put it out. Bruce made a good point. Shams Charania just left Stadium. He's a free agent. The Shams, there's a rivalry between Shams and Woj. The Shams just slide into that Woj spot now.
I mean, yeah, because Chris Haynes is already occupied, so they ain't gonna be him. So yes, Shams picked a perfect time to be a free agent.
Well, I think that it's Haynes. I think Haynes is leaving Turner is he even Turner now or next? Well, obviously next year when Turner loses.
I see him going to NBC.
Oh, Haynes going to. So here's my question, right? And you talked about Peter Vesey before. Peter Vesey was on the pregame, the postgame. Are we going to get that at NBC? Do you think they bring back the insider as not like Woj off to the side in a love seat off the set? Is like Peter Vesey person to be at the desk ready to report? So I kind of miss that. I miss having the insider right there on the panel.
I missed that, but I feel like they're gonna go away from that. I feel like it's gonna be they were talking about not Wingo. I could see them bringing in Jalen Rhodes. I could see them bringing in a Haynes. I could see them doing those voids, but I think the insiders, I think they're done. I think those days are done.
I always hated Woj not being at the desk on NBA.
Which it made no sense to me, when he's not there, yeah.
So it'd be like Malika Andrews okay, so we're gonna walk over to Woj now, and so walking across the set. I'm like, why is Woj separated from everybody? Bring him to the desk. It's okay. He's a good dude.
Right.
So I'm excited to see him go, and a final Woj bomb. That was it. That was a big bomb that he dropped yesterday. So good luck, St. Bonaventure. It's weird how much they're on TV. I didn't realize St. Bonaventure is on television that much. I saw them 8 times last year.
They're the new St. John. They're what St. John used to be.
Listen, they play the A-10, which is just a shitty conference, so they could just win the A-10 every single year if they really wanted to, because the A-10's garbage, except for Dayton. That's about it. All right, let's go to the main event. Vince Carter is getting his number retired by the Nets. So let me preface this. 6 years with the Nets, okay? 23 points a game, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal. 3 straight All-Star appearances. He ranks 3rd in Nets history in points and holds the team's NBA record for 30-point and 40-point game, blah, 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 blah. So tell me why Vince Carter shouldn't have his number retired. Let's start with that first.
I mean, okay, besides the championships that he never won in New Jersey, he never got them to the finals. He wasn't part of those teams. Hell, I will make the case that Kenyon Martin jersey needs to be retired before Vince Carter. I think Vince was just a hired gun by the time he got to the Nets. He had a good time with the Nets. I give him that. But you're setting a bad precedent for retiring jerseys. Because, I'm on the fence. I was having this argument the other day. No way LeBron gets his jersey retired at every spot he was at. I will give you the Cavs. I won't even make a case for Miami because I feel like he lost them three titles. He won 2, lost 2 as a player with the Heat, and then he beat the Heat in the bubble. So I don't think Riley's going to be – I think Riley's petty like me. He's not going to want to retire his jersey anytime soon, or let alone get a statue. But I think Vince Carter – hell, I'll make a case that Brook Lopez should get his jersey retired in Brooklyn before Vince Carter. So it's just a bad omen. I get where we hyped about he made the 2K cover. I get all that, but I will not retire his jersey. The only place his jersey needs to be retired is Toronto. That's it.
I think you're right. I feel like 6 years with a team is not not a long time.
If that's the case, Carmelo jersey should be retired with the Knicks. And I understand why they wouldn't even do it.
You look at when he was with the Nets, it was like that weird in-between time after they just made the NBA Finals.
Marbury number should be retired with the Nets before.
I mean, I go back. So I want to go back to the article real quick. So these are the numbers that are already retired by the Nets right now. You have Drazen Petrovic, who deserves that one.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Kidd deserves it.
Mm-hmm.
John Williamson is old school Nets. Bill Malgione, he's old school Nets, New York Nets. Dr. J definitely should have his number retired. And Buck Williams definitely have his number retired. So, of those 6, all those 6 guys deserve to have that number retired. A lot of old school Nets, a lot of New York Nets, whatever. They all did something. Whether it's winning an ABA championship, Jason Kidd leading them to 2 NBA finals. Drazen Petrovic was a European legend and would have become a perennial all-star if he didn't pass away really early. You almost think of this feels like a ploy to get people to come to Barclays. No one's going to Barclays Center right now.
It's funny you say that because I was going to say Vince Carter was a distraction that had everyone glued to the Nets in Jersey when behind the scenes they wanted to move them to Brooklyn. Vince Carter was that nugget they dangled. So hey, listen, we just got this attraction in the Meadowlands. Come see him. On all secretly, they were trying to get the team to Brooklyn the whole time.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it feels like they're trying to get people to come and distract this time from we're going to be shitty for a few years. But here's Vince Carter. Because my next step is, who would be next? Is Richard Jefferson have his number retired next? Is that the next guy?
No. I mean, you're right. You're absolutely right.
It's like, because you open the door for Vince Carter and Richard Jefferson. I think Brook Lopez should be the next one. I think you retire nobody else's number until Brook Lopez officially retires, and you retire his number right away. Because he was the franchise, especially in those transition years going from New Jersey to Brooklyn. Those last 2-3 years in New Jersey were garbage. And he was the only reason people gave a crap about the New Jersey Nets. Him playing in those Prudential games when Prudential Center was empty. Not like emptier than the Meadowlands would be on a Tuesday night for a Nets game. It was empty. So I think Brook Lopez, you're right. If we're going to do that, let's go down the list. Derek Coleman, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons with the Nets.
Coleman's not retired. I mean,
Kenny Anderson. It was Kenny Anderson, Drazen Petrovic, Derek Coleman. You had the triad. Drazen Petrovic dying early messed that up because I feel like if those three, and with Chuck Daly as their coach, because people forget Chuck Daly left Detroit, went to New Jersey, and had a good team in Jersey.
Yeah. And for Petrovic, a lot of folks don't know he was Dirk before Dirk. Mm-hmm. He was Luka before Luka. He was that guy. He was there before Tony Kukoc got into the league.
Yep.
So he was the first one.
So why not Kenny Anderson, drafted out of Georgia Tech? I remember going to those games, seeing Derek Coleman, Kenny Anderson. I was like, damn, this is kind of cool. Mm-hmm. And of course, Derek Coleman with the whoop-de-damn-do thing and going nuts. But besides that, let's retire their numbers. Like, there's so many more players that's more deserving of having their number retired with the Nets than that. Oh, we got another one. Hold on. I forgot about this guy. Daryl Dawkins. He was a Net. Daryl Dawkins is one. Why Vince Carter? Is it because he's calling games on Yes for the Nets? Is that why?
Maybe.
Is that the reason? That's why Richard Jefferson's in my head. I'm like, well, he's there like 20 games a year. Why not? It's like, I just think this is like a ploy. Also, I'm going to go back to something we talked about a couple weeks ago too. The Philadelphia mayor is actually going to push the city council to approve some money to keep the Sixers in Philly. So there will be no New Jersey 76ers, unfortunately, in Camden, the worst place in New Jersey. So that dream is dead. So instead of New Jersey 76ers, we get Vince Carter having his number retired. It's just like, I get you got to fill some nights at Barclays. You got to keep the people coming for some reason, but this ain't it. this ain't it.
Yes, man. They better hope they stink this year and land a top 3 pick and somehow ride the ship, because it's going to be some bad nights in Barclays.
Well, I have a friend who's like, Cooper Flag. I'm like, what's going to end up happening? You're going to do just well enough to have like the 3rd best odds and get like the 8th pick. Because that's what always happens. That's what always happens.
What's the Detroit? Somebody had like the worst record last year and didn't get a top 3 pick. Who was it?
Detroit.
It was Detroit, right?
Detroit got like 2. And they're like, damn, we messed that up again. You're like, yeah, you did. All over again. All right. So that's all I got. That's all we got tonight. Another very slow news week. Quick show. As always, you want to follow us on X, Twitter. If you're still on that cesspool of information, I'm Kahlil and Thomas at Busy J. Follow us there. Armchairing, great show last night. Bruce's premiere episode went all the way.
Congrats.
So Bruce, every single Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Next week, we will not be on Thursday. We'll keep you posted. I actually have back to school night next Thursday. So I got to meet with parents and talk about how bad the kids are. So that's my job next Thursday. So we'll be back next week. We don't know the day yet. We'll let you know. Check us out on X and Twitter. We'll definitely put the information out, but it will not be Thursday. I'll be stuck in school till about 8 o'clock. So no show next Thursday. Check out for us. Probably Sunday. Next Sunday.
Yeah.
Probably when we'll do the next one. So next Sunday will be our next show. All right. We're done. I'm not going to wrestle tonight because I saw a picture of the AEW crowd last night and I was depressed. So I don't want to talk wrestling tonight.
I'm looking forward to my first AEW event next Wednesday.
I mean, they're doing Full Gear in Jersey November. And I'm kind of going back and forth about going. I'm not sure yet. I'm going to SmackDown in October, though.
Where's it going to be? In Jersey?
Barclays. Oh, come to Barclays. I'll be in Brooklyn.
I might look for that. All right. I have to take you up on
October 20th, something like that. So I'll be at SmackDown, probably booing Cody Rhodes. I'm kind of tired of him at this point. So
same here.
It's time to take the belt off of him. Anyway, for Jason Kahlil, thanks so much for watching. No wrestling tonight. I'm depressed. Thanks for watching. We'll be back next Sunday. Armchairing next Wednesday night, 8 p.m. here. Check it out with Bruce Morrow. For Jason Kahlil, peace.
This has been The Box Out with Kahlil Thomas and Jason Cordner. Subscribe now for the best tri-state area basketball talk.